has been in existence for 65 years. And so, and it has churches all over the U.S. And abroad. It's about 750 churches. And 325 of them are here in the States. So,
I'm sure people are just grateful to come together, right? We have been apart for so long.
It's about, I'm guessing about 1,200 of us, somewhere between 1,200 and 1,500 of us here. And yes, the fellowship quotient is high. so people are certainly happy to be able to see people in person that they haven't seen before. Haven't seen in quite some time.
Yeah, absolutely.
So here is the content. It was pretty straightforward. So my intent was us do intros, us talk about the opportunity that's hanging out here, play the video, talk about the new career pathways, the talent development landscape, 110 platform, and then really get into a conversation about your next. I grabbed some LinkedIn content to kind of drive that part of the introduction, and then really was going to call out the key dimensions of 110. I mean, Black Americans, good job, skills first, 1 million over 10 years, and call out the website.
Can I share my screen for 1 second?
You certainly can, absolutely. Oh, can you see? Do you see the option to be able to do that?
I do, but you have to stop sharing so that I can share.
Yeah. I forget Teams is the one that allows you to just take over.
Yeah, no, you gotta let me do it. There you go. So one of the things, and particularly since there's no one there, what I was going to do is share some key things that we share with folks about not only why we exist, but what's there for them to believe that there's substance here and that there's a real opportunity. So we walk them through a little bit about the wealth gap and what barriers there are for African Americans to get jobs. I think the biggest one that always hits me hard is knowing that 71% of jobs that pay $40,000 or more require a 4-year degree, and 79% of jobs that are $60,000 or more require a degree, and 76% of Black Americans don't have degrees. So we have to do something different in order to get good jobs and careers, more importantly, in the hands of African Americans. So I won't read every slide, but what this does is talk about the vision, explain what a family sustaining job is, share who's behind it, who's been working on this, and then start talking a little bit about the companies that have signed up and are participating in this. How we're pulling things together, like what talent developers, who's working on helping skilling people up, talking about the impact that we hope to have, and then tell folks a little bit directly where we are, right? We can show where you are active, right? Lily, where other folks are active and where the opportunity is. And kind of stay there, like I was gonna do,
I love it.
So if that's still in line with what you want, we can just do this more.
That is, I love that. So maybe I will kill my computer, because then it'd just be the two of us. And we can have a conversation and have your content be the anchor. So I can spend a couple of minutes up front just setting the frame for the discussion. And then you pull me in as a complement to, as an application for the concept. I can support that.
Okay.
And I think we can fit this into the 20-30 minute window, and then we'll just push it. We'll certainly push it out. I think what I will do, because Maurice will be here tomorrow, If we had the order reversed, then it would have driven more context around it. And so, but we'll be able to drive people to this recording after Maurice's talk tomorrow afternoon in our
And
service.
that's fine. However I can help is fine. I think once they see Maurice, they'll be sucked in.
Yes, yeah, no doubt about it. No doubt about it. So, okay, well, let me do this.
But yeah, you definitely don't want to show the room because that would make the video sad.
Yes.
Now, what does your shirt say?
It's actually the logo for this organization, the Pentecostal Churches of the Apostolic Faith. So
Nice.
I wear a few different hats. Well, in this context, I serve as organization's leader for strategy and operations. So,
Okay.
but I didn't want to. I feel like communities like this have to begin to know what this is, and then view it as a viable pathway for theirs. And so, just finding a way to penetrate communities like this is the art for 110, and certainly willing to kind of continue to help test that out here.
Absolutely.
So, hey, do you have I was just asking about record, and it is recording now? Can we, because let me stop it and restart it. Yeah, let's do that.
Okay.
So we'll have a clean. We're going to stop the recording and then restart it here. Well, good afternoon, and thanks for joining our workshop this afternoon on alternative career pathways. I am Terry Morris. Presume most of you know me. I currently serve as the executive director for strategy and operations here with the PCFI. And as we have been looking at ways to support you, the members and leaders of the Pentecostal Church of the Apostolic Faith, here at our 2020 Growth Conference, we have been looking for new pathways to help you to achieve your personal objectives. This Growth Conference is an intentional construct that even the name suggests growth. Our global remit has certainly been an interesting one, highlighted by our growth in our European regions, in our new churches in Poland, and expansions in Pakistan, and our relationships, and certainly Bishop Younger earlier in our Saturday worship experience really hit home the value of relationships. This particular workshop is going to hit on the two dimensions of our growth continuum: opportunities and wealth. And I am certainly, and technology. So we'll hit the latter end of growth: opportunities, wealth, and technology. And I'm certainly, it's my pleasure to be joined by Ms. Davis, the Chief Financial Officer for an organization that I have grown to love, and I get to share with another part of my family called 110. I'll create some space here in a moment for her to introduce herself. But let me give you a little bit of the context for how we landed here. In my day job, I serve as the Senior Director for Racial Justice at Eli Lilly and Company, a pharmaceutical company based in Indianapolis, Indiana. Prior to this job, I was an IT director within Lilly. I've been in IT for 20 years. I served as the national president for a Black technology group called BDPA for 4 years. And I had a personal incident where I was attacked while riding a bike by a white male. informed by hate, in fact. This was June of 2020, a month after George Floyd's murder. And that experience ripened my mind for how do I make a difference in this world that seems to be increasingly making steps backwards, and with the level of hate, I would offer, at a boiling point. So I leaned in, had an opportunity to join our diversity, equity, and inclusion office as a racial justice efforts. And shortly, actually a month after I took this job, or a month before I took this job, Lily had signed up to become a 110 signatory. I didn't know what that meant. It sounded like a neat adventure. But the more I learned about it, this notion of creating good family sustaining jobs for Black Americans, for us, was something I could get behind. And I've certainly it's been quite a ride with our friends at 110. And I have the pleasure of engaging in a dialogue today to share more about this opportunity for you and for your family and for your community, such that they too can become benefactors of a unique solution that was built for you. So I'm going to invite and let me, because I'm going to just be honest, I don't think I have heard the pronunciation of your first name, so I don't want to beat it up. So I'm going to go at Miss Davis, but please introduce yourself, and let's get into more context about what 110 is and how might it be positioned for a community such as the PCFI and beyond.
It's great. Thank you very much, Terry. My first name is Toshi. So my name is Toshi Davis. I have been with 110 since December, and it has been an amazing and rewarding experience. So today what I'd like to do is share with you a little bit about our mission, a little bit about what we're doing, and then talk practically about how we can make sure that people get involved and take part in the opportunities that are being put forward by the companies that work within the coalition. Is that okay?
That sounds great. Thank you.
So let me bring up a brief presentation. Hold on one second. It's always fun to juggle technology, right? Okay.
Indeed.
Here we go. Can you see that, Terry? Are we up on the screen?
There it is.
Okay,
yes.
Great. Now, is that clear? Okay, so what I'd like to share with you today is kind of our collective why, right? There's a significant wealth gap between African Americans and white Americans in the United States. The average white family has a net wealth of $147,000, and Black families have a net wealth of $40,000. We want to change that. But how do you change that? What we, along with members of the coalition, want to do is to provide access and opportunity. But one of the key barriers that we saw is the fact that jobs that provide salaries of $40,000 or more, 71% of those jobs require a 4-year degree or higher. And for jobs that are $60,000 or more, 79% of those jobs require a 4-year degree. And right now, unfortunately, the African-American community, 76% of African-Americans do not have 4-year degrees. So we have to change how we are offering those opportunities. And we do that by skill-based hiring. So as a mission, our mission as an organization is to make sure that over the next 10 years, 1 million Black Americans are hired into family-sustaining jobs. But beyond hiring them into family-sustaining jobs, we're also focused on making sure that Black talent is retained, developed, and advanced within those companies. So it's making sure that they're going into roles that have opportunities for advancement. So working with our coalition members, again, we're holding them accountable too, and they have signed up for significantly increasing hiring of Black talent. And like I said, making sure that they're not only hiring, but retaining, upskilling, and advancing. Those companies are coming together with us into communities of practice to learn about best practices and ways to bring in talent and make sure that the opportunities are there. So,
Toshi, can I ask one question on the previous slide? It said that this program was for Black Americans. Is that the primary and exclusive impact that's intended here?
that is the focus. The focus is and we'll talk more about this in the slides. Our focus right now is where the wealth gap is. And the wealth gap right now is in the African American community. So it's about creating access and opportunity to these roles and really laser focused on the Black community.
Wow. Thank you for clarifying that.
Sure. And to that end, it's also making sure that when we talk to companies, we walk them through what we're looking for. This is not, what we're not trying to do is find another $10 an hour job, right? We're looking for jobs that are not only allow a family to be sustained by that job, right? So when we say family sustaining job, we're looking for wages that can allow on one job you to sustain a family. And on top of that, we're looking for jobs that aren't at risk of elimination, that are not dead-end jobs that lead to a career. So when we work with companies, we're specifically identifying those roles that are both attractive and accessible. That's where we work with companies to reimagine the hiring, the qualification and credentials they want for those jobs. There are many jobs where the individuals have the skills, they just don't have the credential. So we're working with them to find different ways and different paths to get to those opportunities. I wanted to take a moment for you to understand all the folks that are working hard behind the scenes to make this a reality. Really, our leading committee are Ken Frazier and Ginny Remedy. Ken Frazier, former chairman of Merck, and Ginny Remedy, former chairman of IBM. Ken Chenault, former chairman of American Express. Charles Phillips, Kevin Shearer. These are all dedicated, seasoned individuals who said the private sector has a role to play in addressing the wealth gap, and they've brought forward. I think the organization will have an opportunity to hear directly from Maurice Jones, who is our CEO and comes from LISC. This is a dedicated group of individuals trying to move this forward. And many, many supporting firms. We'll talk about that a little bit more. What's important to know is, I'm going to show you that across the United States, we're going we're focusing in our markets, and we're bringing together employers that have signed up in the coalition, but also we've brought together talent developers, two-year colleges, many organizations that you may be familiar with that are focused on providing skills or nano degrees that will allow people to quickly access the types of jobs we're talking about. We're bringing those together, as well as reaching out directly to Black talent to make sure that we build a strong ecosystem and a way for people to access jobs. So just a bite of the companies that are involved right now, we have a coalition of over 70 members, but those companies people may be familiar with, like Johnson & Johnson, like Medtronic, like Target, like AT&T. And again, when we're talking to these companies, we're asking them for jobs that lead to careers, not just the frontline jobs, but the jobs that can move beyond. So we talked about, we're asking them to do direct hires. We're talking to them about promotions. We're asking those companies that have joined the coalition to look hard at employees that they have within their company. Some of the companies we're talking about have a wealth of African-American employees at the front line, and we're looking at apprenticeship programs to pull them up into roles that they may not have been considered before. we're also working with them on beyond apprenticeship. We're looking at fundamentally working with companies to look at their job descriptions and retool their job descriptions to focus on skills. Again, I mentioned earlier, just a sample of the talent developers that we're working with. It's important to know, again, junior colleges, community colleges, but we're also working with organizations that can help skill people up. So we're working with organizations that can do small nano degrees, small meaning these are 6 to 12-month degrees that help people go into careers. We're also working with companies, organizations you may have heard of, like Year Up, Merit America, Apprenti, to again, provide training and placement. And we're working closely with some military transitional programs. So again, when you asked the question earlier, Terry, and you said, hey, is this truly focused on Black America? And the answer is right now, absolutely. But the argument that we've made to corporate America and people believe in is when we focus, we laser focus on this group, when we, what we put in place will be helpful for many other underrepresented groups. Well, African Americans, 76% don't have degrees. For the larger part of America, 66% don't have degrees. So as we build in systematic change within those companies, it will help lift up others as well. So I'm gonna pause here on this slide. This will be the last slide that I share. As you would imagine, we're rolling out, we started last year, we're going larger this year, and we're focusing on 25 key markets. We've done that in partnership with some of our key companies. So Terry, I know you're familiar that in Indianapolis, partnered with Lilly. In the Bay Area, it's with Cisco. In Dallas, we have a strong relationship with AT&T and Deloitte, and those companies are kind of taking the lead in those markets in terms of not only putting forward jobs, but working closely with the other employers in those markets to have a sound opportunity. The way folks that are listening to us in this conversation can get involved with 110, they can go to www.110.org and they can put in their names and fill out an application to get in the know and be a part of the ecosystem. You'll start to see, often we have scholarships for nano degrees that come forward. Those are those short degrees that train you for certain roles. We're making people aware of apprenticeships. We're putting forward jobs on our website. Our talent developers are bringing them forward into the marketplace, but they are all in service toward providing stronger jobs and career opportunities for people within our community.
Wow. Well, every time I hear the full narrative of 110, I'm in awe of it as a solution for people who need it, quite frankly, and have not had access in the same way that others have. And now that access is being enabled, and the great work that 110 is doing to challenge companies like Lilly and all those noted here to do their part in this. And I use the word challenge, and it's probably not the right way to frame it, because these companies signed up. They raised their hand when they were asked to engage, and they said yes. They said this is an opportunity that they could not pass up. And so
and Terry, I think it's important for folks to know the companies believe, as we believe, we're leaving genius behind. Just my personal story, I grew up in Jersey City, and I tell people all the time that I was not the smartest kid on the block. I was the kid on the block who had a grandmother that said, you will. And so I ended up with access and opportunity. And access and opportunity allowed me to progress forward. But I know the genius that was left behind. So this is about unleashing that genius, and it's better for our companies, it's better for our communities.
Absolutely, absolutely. And everything I've experienced in our time together, would challenge the notion of if you were the smartest kid on the block. I've been affirmed that you were in the top tier at least. But you know, the interesting thing that I want people to hear is that you don't have to expect that you already know have all of the skills necessary to be ready for jobs in any of these companies, because there are really two different on-ramps that companies are leveraging. There is a re-credentialing on-ramp, and there is an apprenticeship on-ramp. And while those notions may seem a bit abstract, the re-credentialing is a pretty neat play. It's really just asking companies to take jobs that they have historically required a 4-year degree and remove that 4-year degree requirement and open up the aperture, open up more job opportunities for people who would otherwise not be able to get there just because of that one gate.
Absolutely, and to look for the skills. One of our companies had a need for sales rep, and there were so many transferable skills and other sales opportunity. And when they saw that without the degree, you had people that had the same core competencies that they needed for that job. And when they opened it up, they had some amazing sales reps that came in and quite frankly killed it. So
Yes.
it's asking people to look differently at the skills that are out there within our community.
Well, you know, I was talking to an executive recently on the other end of the continuum with apprenticeships, and this was an IT leader, and what they said to me was, look, give me someone who loves IT, give me someone who can learn, let me do the rest. And that is the spirit of many of these companies that are saying, through apprenticeships, you give me a base capability and learning agility and a passion, and they will take you through a 12 or 24-month apprenticeship program to help you close the gap in the skills to then be able to launch into a career. So while this may feel like or sound like pipe dreams, I'm here to attest directly through my experiences in my day job that this is real. It was built for people like you and your families, and I want to admonish you to take the time to take a look at 110's website again, 110.org. They have created this simple way for you to share your profile, be able to then see how your profile matches with the jobs in your area, and then you are showing your profile to all of these companies. And I think now the number of companies who have signed up with 110 is 70 or so. So across these United States, while here noted are a few of the companies who are the city leaders in those spaces, there are over 70 companies around the US that are looking to help meet this bold, this audacious goal of promoting and hiring and advancing Black Americans, 1 million of them, in fact, over a 10-year period. So first, let me thank Toshi Davis for taking time out of your busy schedule. You're doing certainly meaningful work so thank you for leaning in to do this great work, and a great team that you're working with. And thank 110 more broadly for really creating a once in a lifetime, a generational opportunity to reset from an economic sustainability perspective that I hope people will take the time to lean in, and we're going to be here to support that journey as well. So thank you, Toshi, again. Any closing remarks as we wrap up here?
No, thank you. Just my only closing remark would be, please, not only for the individuals that are on the call to take advantage, please share with your family, share with your community. The more that we can share about these opportunities, the better. So please, And I just thank you for the opportunity for me to share about what we're up to.
Very good. Well, we will probably tap again, and but we and continue to amplify this great work for the PCFI family. We'll be pushing communication out so that you can consume this at your leisure as well. All right.
Okay.
Thanks, everybody. Enjoy the conference. Take care. Have a good Saturday.
Thank you.